Arcade Space. This is your boy GCA and with another episode, number 16. If you have not read the title, there's a lot of speculation going on in the home arcade community about Arcade1up might be dead in the water right now. There's a few videos that came out that I'm now gonna basically post and tag onto this video. Shout out to RGT85, Qualified Critics, Rexer. This is interesting to me that we're going on year 5 in this community, and we're probably Arcade1up might be having their exit. So let me just get to the topic at hand. So let me get the screen up. So we have noticed that where John D and now Mr. Baccarat is no longer with the company right now. They are basically gone. As far as the speculation is gone, due to the videos that are popping up today, there's a guy that's called the Greek Getaway. You need to go and check out his video. He has some real detailed stuff. I'm gonna leave the link at the bottom of the video. You need to go and check it out. He has some real details on the speculation that is going on with Arcade1up. It seems like John Baccarat has been removed from his position, but on his Wikipedia, on his LinkedIn page, he is still showing that he is still currently the CEO and founder of Arcade1up. My fault, ex-CEO. But his name is still being attached to it. And this is the weird thing right now going on, that everybody's wondering why we're still getting rehashes, why we haven't got a lot of cabinets this year. I think a lot of content creators were already on it, but I think RGT85 was the very first person to speak on this. And I want to go to his video right now. I want to go to his video, and I want to let y'all hear from his mouth what he has to say based on that. Let's see, I want to make sure I get it at the right point for y'all. All right, I want y'all to listen what he has to say about what he has to say. So I'm gonna blow it up. I'm gonna make sure y'all hear everything he has to say on this topic, because he was
by updates.
No, that's not what I want. Nope. No. So I guess I'm gonna have to play it from right here. So I just want you to hear, shout out to RGT85, but he was speaking about this 10 months ago. And what he has to say is very interesting. Check this out.
Stuff. I honestly feel like the home arcade market is starting to fizzle and fade. You got to remember, this was, something that started, 4 or 5 years ago. And it was something that was very different. It was something that was very unique. But as time has gone on, I'm not quite sure that the audience has really grown. And that's kind of a problematic thing. I feel like people have been, kind of burned by Arcade1up, and they're just kind of tired of getting, just one cabinet at a time, or maybe they just get one cabinet at a time of a game they particularly like, and they don't really care about the other offerings from the company. Now, there are diehard people who collect all of these things or have 20, 30 machines in their house. And, that's cool. If that's what you want to do, that's awesome. But I just feel like on the grander scale, this business model hasn't expanded. I feel like, if anything, it's starting to take steps backwards. We used to get multiple new game releases year after year after year. And now it's like, you're not getting that. You're having to scrounge and scramble up things. And, things are being edited and things are being tinkered with. And the NFL Blitz is censored in terms of the late hits, which was kind of like the whole point of the game.
So, based on what RGT85 was saying at the time, he was already seeing the writing on the wall with a lot of this stuff. I think that Arcade1up put a lot of expectations in The Simpsons, MVC2, Ridge Racer, and NFL Blitz. Those licenses cost them so much, and they wasn't able to get the money back in the returns. So that caused their company to basically derail, like the ship is basically declining. It basically was sinking. And the fake FOMO they was trying to put out there with the issues with Simpsons, with their sound issues, with only 2 games being at $700. You can look at MVC2 with no online play, which all the other games was able to get online, but MVC2, the Rush with NFL Blitz with no basically they manipulated the late hits, taking that out, and Ridge Racer costing so much at the time to basically get these licenses in play. It basically hurt Arcade1up. The community was telling them maybe you should just focus on 80s cash, but they were trying to bring all the games that everybody was asking for. But instead of them having transparency to basically explain that the license costs too much, we don't have enough to basically make and give to these licensors, so we could basically have these titles, so maybe everybody will want them. They cost too much, and no one saw real value in them. Because when Simpsons came out, it only had 2 games. It had Simpsons and it had Simpsons Bowling. Yeah, Simpsons Bowling was great, but it didn't really move the needle for a lot of people to say, well, this is worth $700 coming out the gate. So I want to go to Rexer. Yeah, I want to go to Rexer next, because Rexer basically has said some things as well last night on his show, because I was watching it, and I thought he was really getting to some points about what's really going on with Arcade1up. So let's get to the point at hand, and let me rewind it back to what he said last night. Shout out to Rexer, because I think he did a really good job breaking it all down, and Kev the Great was on there as well.
Tell everybody what's going on with Arcade1up, because I do want to bring up a picture.
Okay.
Picture. Go ahead.
So there's rumors that John D is gone, pretty much confirmed. But the last couple of days, the other rumors are hitting the fan that pretty much the management at Arcade1up has been turned over. The board of directors have had it with Arcade1up shenanigans, and they basically replaced the management team at Arcade1up, all but confirmed. So the Arcade1up that you know and love is pretty much dead. And it's being managed now by a bunch of different people whose bottom line is the bottom line. So enjoy those Pac-Men, because you're getting 10 more next year, guys, no doubt.
Now, why do we bring this up, or why do I bring this up? And thank you, everybody, for joining. Carlo, Bo, Walter. Well, the more I've been thinking about this, guys, the demise of Arcade1up, the more I just keep thinking about these licenses that they got and the complete disaster and failure of all these licenses. And we see that Zen, we're going to talk about At Games Pinball. Zen is that's gone. I hear that. That's gone from 1UP. It's moving over to At Games.
Yeah.
So why? Why? Well, because they don't want them, because they cost too much. But here's what's funny, guys. Here's a tweet that I found funny. Somebody sent me this, and it was good old John D. Let's blow this up a little bit. John D. trying to save some face here, you know. An exclusive relationship needs to be mutually beneficial, or someone will find another partner who treats them better. Treat each other well, show respect, and don't take the other for granted. That's the key to. He's like trying to pump himself up as to why like his licenses were so good, and he was the license guy, and he was this guy.
So now everybody's seeing the writing on the wall that the license is the biggest issue. going back to my very point, the relationship between both Arcade1up and all like Midway, Capcom, Namcom, Taito, the relationships are not that great. If they don't feel their benefit in making money off these titles, like if Arcade1up says, okay, we'll buy your license for $1 million, borrow your license for $1 million, they have to push out $1 million to whatever title they want. Arcade1up has to make that money back. So the FOMO for all these cabinets, for certain cabinets during late, I would say around Wave 4, mostly like Dragon's Lair, Tron, MVC2, Simpsons, X-Men, all those, they cost. Not the legacy cabinets, the Capcoms and the Midways. I think those are fine because they were actually selling, but I think they put so much emphasis on it that it hurt Arcade1up's bottom line, so they was treading water. And then with the issues, with the quality issues, with the joysticks or sound or monitors, it was always a problem with them, with the community, basically. And I hate to say it like this, and excuse my English if any kid is listening, but they shitted on their brand. They shitted on them. When you sent out demo caps to the community, like RGT85, Michael B, Consul Kids, 19K Fox, or Mo, or the Tech Bug, those people, and they basically go to your cabinet and it doesn't be great, it's gonna show. There's been a number of problems with their cabinets for the last 5 years. And when the cabs were cheap, people gave them the pass. Okay, we're gonna support you. But as the years kept going by, it never got better. It was always something else. It was either the marquees they were washed out, or the monitors wasn't BOE or TA monitors, or the controls wasn't great, like the Tron stick that broke, or the steering wheels for most of the like for Outrun and Ridge Racer, they either wasn't great, or they wasn't shaking, or the pedals. It was always problems with the cap. And then the fact is they pay so much for these licenses, it basically killed them. So I just don't understand the mindset of where Arcade1up wants to get with this product. They just never got it right. And then when you look at Games and Unico and IRK, they never had a hardware problem. And they always kept their prices under the $500 price point before the pandemic. So it just didn't make any sense, like why these cabinets keep going up, but the quality is not getting any better. So it just hurt them down the road. So I want to play this last video from Unqualified Critics. Shout out to him. I think he makes some great content. I'm glad he's back in the space. He made this video today, and I want to just pull up his video because I think he has some valid points as well on the subject matter. So I want to make sure I get it at the right marker. And let's make sure we get it there. Yes. Bam.
This video. I think we now know. Maybe it's premature, but I feel pretty confident saying Arcade1up, with its vision for super affordable home arcades, but with great licensing, I think we now know that is not actually workable, not actually sustainable. The $400, $500 cabs, you pay a lot of money for licensing. I have no idea how much you pay for licensing. It's clearly a lot of money. And Arcade1up thought that licensing would equal sales. I think we're learning now, not necessarily true. We've all seen.
So based on that situation, they did put too much emphasis on having these titles in the masses. I think this is why we're gonna see we see a shift in Arcade1up management. I don't know what to expect. I have no clue whether our community is gonna stay the same actors. I see a lot of people jump ship. They're all heading all the way to Cleveland to basically try to get on the At Games wagon. really don't see it. I actually have an ad games in my house. I actually have one, and it's a great cab. And I'm not gonna lie, but it's no nostalgia with it, and it's like even though you can add a close to 20,000, excuse me, close to 20,000 games to it, it just don't make sense to me. I like the division, I like the controls, I love the cab, but it doesn't hold what these cabs in the back of me have, like the Pac-Man, the Centipede, the Outrun, the Street Fighters, the Mortal Kombats, the MVCs, you know, the Marvel stuff, you know, the Tron, the Dragon Slayer. Those cabs hold more nostalgia when you go to the arcade. I love ad games and I love what they've done, and I love the fact that you could pull up a lot of main games that you will not probably won't see on the Arcade1up, and that's what's great about it. But the cabs that we all want to see, we know Arcade1up could pull it all, but I just think the price value is too high. So I'm going to go into my last slide, and then I'm going to get off of here because I don't want to stay on here too long. And I want to make sure that everybody hears me out. So I'm going to blow up my screen. So I think these are the problems that Arcade1up had that everybody's been complaining about. Like when you look at the quality issues, the monitor issues with the BOE and TN monitors. Like I didn't understand why we got TN monitors with like anything that was above $500. Like if you want to throw that in the peasant versions in Walmart, that's perfectly fine, because then I think that would make sense at the end of the day. But anybody that's paying $500 should have got a BOE monitor with their stuff. Then we had sound gate issues, like some of the cabs during Wave 3 and maybe one or two during Wave 4 was horrible. I think that they never really send quality updates to a lot of the stuff. And it just didn't make any sense to me why this was never fixed. Like as soon as the community started like saying something, there should have been updated patches right away. But Arcade1up said unless there's a reason to update it and there's money to put behind it, then we'll update it. But if not, they didn't want to bother. So that was another issue. The controls and buttons issue, like that was another thing. The cheap joysticks after Wave 1. My thing is like after Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, you should like once you did MVC, the limited edition, you put Sandwans in it. You should have did it with all their fighting cabs after that. But for you to go back to the cheap buttons in 60, it made no sense. It was just a debacle in itself. Then the light up marquees. Then you got them. Then we got the wood ones, and we got washed out ones, and we got the then we got great ones, and we didn't get great ones, and it's all over the place, shifting the power narrative. What's going on, Constar Entertainment? I hope you've seen all the news footage that is going on right now with this situation. Then the price hike, the pandemic, it kind of derailed Arcade1up. They had to boost the prices up. They claimed that they couldn't afford a lot of the products they were adding in it, but it seemed like they were always issuing out new cabinets. And instead of them fixing the issues with their cabs and making sure the next cab or the next wave came out that was totally improved, they didn't. It just kept going back and back and back and back to the same situation. And then the fake FOMO, that really killed me. I think that's what really hurt me. I'm not gonna lie, buying the Big Blue Street Fighter when it first came out and paying $775 to buy it and have it shipped was ridiculous. I was totally burnt after that. I started waiting for sales. I started waiting for clearances. It didn't make a lot of sense with the price point of $700 for a lot of these cabinets and the FOMO that went behind it. Oh, you need to buy it. You're gonna miss out. And then there was bunches. Like now we're seeing multiple Walmarts, Best Buys, Gillies, all these companies, all these stores with pallets of them selling for $200 when I could have just waited. And it just didn't make any sense. Where are the classic games at? You know, what we were asking for, a lot of 80s games would have been a lot cheaper. And I think Atari and Namcon actually held a lot of them. They could have did a lot with those relationships and pushed out a lot of cabs that everybody wanted, but they never did that. They basically gave us stuff that the community was asking for, but it just wasn't a lot of support behind those titles. And I think if they had it sold it off the site and actually did like maybe give them $300 to guarantee sales for the cabinets, make a certain amount of cabs, and then have everybody send in $300 to guarantee those cabs were going to leave, then that's a whole different standpoint. What they do after they get a certain amount, maybe 3,000 or 7,000 cabs out of the gate, and it show that the community is actually want it, and then build the what's the word? Like what they did with Golden X, they sold a certain amount, and then they waited a whole year, and then they reissued it out. They could have did the same thing with a lot of these cabinets. They did, and the transparency. There was never no communication for Arcade1up. It seemed like directly from Arcade1up. It's always coming from the content creators. Like, no disrespect to the content creators, but a lot of times I'd rather hear from John D or John Baccarat. It seems like one of them may potentially lose a lot of power in 2024 if they don't move on. Well, move on from what? I mean, move on from what? I mean, they basically destroyed the community that they built. They didn't understand that certain things do work. Like Pac-Man works. Okay. Street Fighter worked to a great extent, but I think they oversaturated right after Big Blue. They could have just moved on and went to Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter Alpha. They didn't have to make a turbo, because if it's already included in the first two legacies and Big Blue is a legacy, why keep going? Why keep milking it out? Move on and do something different. Same thing with like Mortal Kombat 4 should have been out this year. By definition, should have been out right now, right out the gate. It should have been out. And it should have been right along with not Ridge Racer, with Fast and Furious. It should have been pushed out, because it doesn't make any sense that we only got 2 cabs this year. But to me, if you're basically, the reason that you're not making money is because the cost is going up, to make cabs that make sense for the community as a whole, not just to make cabs and just trying to keep them pushing them out just to afford the titles. Because if you can't afford the license, why give us that? Just say that. Move on from the re-releases, deluxe. They didn't need those. I agree. Seeing that the XLs are coming in 2024, just need a new marquee game. Based on the leaks that we got, the leaks that I put out, and that's posted in my community, are we getting those? Because if everybody is gone, based on Rex, Qualified Critics, Geek Getaway, and RGT 85, and I trust all of them, we might not even be getting none of those cabs right now. We might not get 0 of those cabs as of right now, because if Arcade1up is going in a new direction with new management, what's the sense of, I don't see new management taking a chance on cabs that might not sell. Unless they make those limited quantities, maybe like 1,000 or 2,000 out the gate, and that's it. I can see that, and they should have did that after wave 3, because once the pandemic stopped and there was no money, they should have slowed down production. They should have slowed it down. They were really pushing these cabs out, and to me, you got to know when to say when. Right now, I still see, I really wouldn't trust those. Half of those are largely theoretical, and the other half have low. Well, let's see. The other half has low audience support. Well, I agree, but right now, like what? My boy, Constorm. We don't know what games is going to actually play, because right now we already got like most of the top 50 out. So what could we really push out to the masses that everybody's going to get behind? It is going to be an 80s title. Is it going to be a 90s title? Their hardware cannot support anything after 2001. So my thing, and a lot of those games wasn't even in the arcade at that point. So a lot of, like, you got to look at the community as a whole as our community is a larger, older adults. It's no kids. PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch are $1 million products. They guarantee sales. Arcade1up don't have that. It took them 5 years to sell 4 million units. So even though they won quadruple platinum, but it took them 5 years to do that. It doesn't make any sense at the end of the day. I wouldn't trust those. Well, okay. Like I said, it's just there's a lot of problems at Arcade1up. I don't really see us in 2024 getting a lot. I don't see us getting those cabs if John Bacharach and John D is not there. I don't see it. I don't see it, and there's no transparency. My thing is, we already been getting footage from a lot of content creators right now. They are actually looking deep into the situation, and right now, I trust Unqualified Critics because he's been around since the very beginning. Rex, he has resources that makes a lot of sense, but RGT85 has been around since the beginning of YouTube, and I don't believe that he will lie about something like this. My thing is that right now, we don't know if we're going to have a home arcade community after next year. We don't. Right now, only thing that's really out there is ad games. When we look at the 4 companies that we started out with after 2019, we had Unico, we had iArcade coming, we had Arcade1up, and we had ad games. Right now, we're in 2023, and the only one that's going to the Cleveland Game Convention is ad games. In any case, they at least got the XLs out this year. Should have been out in January, but still. Yeah, but that doesn't move the needle. You're still getting rehashes. Look at the cabinets we got. We got Pac-Man. We got Pac-Man. We got let's see. We got. Let's see. Let me pull it up because I got to make sure that I say this right and I want to say this correctly. All right, let's see. Okay. For the deluxes, well, let's go to Arcade1up. So we got regular Pac-Man to this screen. Remove the source. Let's go in here. Share. So, going back to Arcade1up. Sellers. Let's see. All right, we got Pac-Man. And that's the only XL that we actually have as of right now that is shown. Everything else is in a deluxe form factor. Oh, you have an audio glitch. Can you hear me now? Am I having a sound issue, everybody? Like, can you hear me? Let's see. This damn app. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me on console? Well, a little better. Also, a little better. Also, what is your thoughts on BHH? What do you mean by BBH? I'm kind of lost on that one. A Big Buck Hunter Deluxe on QBH. It kind of defeats the purpose. This is my thought process on it. This is my thought on this subject. When I look at Big Buck Hunter as a whole, I think they missed the mark entirely with it. When they brought out that cab during, I think it's a Wave 4 cabinet. No, it's a Wave 3 cabinet. This is my thing. During Wave 3, when they were introducing turtles and all of them, I think they should have went to the deluxe form factor then. I think they waited too long to basically give us the deluxe form factor because I was kind of burnt when I bought MVC2 and NFL Blitz, and then the next year we got deluxes. Why did you not start that fifth wave with the deluxe form factor from right there on? My thing, that would have been a great introduction. For them to do a deluxe 2 years after the fact and expect everybody to dump their previous Big Buck Hunter at this point makes no sense. Then on top of that, you still have a small screen in it. It's only a little bit taller. And now you do the peasant version at Walmart. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing. Like, why didn't you just do all that stuff? Like, this is my thing. And this is something that I think a content creator has said 2 years ago. No, a year ago. If you're going to do KI and bring out the Pro and then bring out the 3/4 stuff, why didn't you just give everybody the XL, the Countercade, the Party Cat, and then do a whole entire line out there and see how that thrives? They could have did that with all their cabinets and give everybody variety on what they wanted. They didn't do that. They keep doing it sporadically. And then they expect everybody to keep reinvesting in cabs they already got. Let's move on. Once you throw those cabs out there, let's move on. I understand those are vote cabs, but we didn't need them right now. We need to get to the new stuff. Give me titles that I haven't seen or haven't heard before. And then the thing is, stop always depending on Walmart as your savior. Try to throw the cab on your site. Do like 3,000. I think Cuba would have been a great cab to test that out. Personally honest, as entirely. Throw 3,000 out there, see what happens. I kid you not. They would have sold every Cuba. I know I would have bought one. A lot of people would have did it. And as long as it's in a deluxe form factor without the riser, I think it would have been fine. They could have did it in the Party Cave. They didn't do that. It's same thing with the Defender cab. The Defender cab was a complete travesty in itself to have the Mortal Kombat games on it. And then you see the Party Cave, a.k.a. the Carolina Wine Mixer, do really well. Why you didn't do that for the bigger cab? I don't understand what Arcade1up is doing. It's just mind-boggling. We have two different games lists for the same title. We won't give games that we actually want. Then you actually do different variants at different times, like different points of a 3-year gap. It doesn't make any sense anymore. I think new management, they need to bring in someone that kind of see the eye and makes sense of the situation. I know for me, when I was a general manager at Walmart, I look with what sells. I would put stuff in the front of the store knowing that I could get rid of it quick. And I keep stuff in the back in their departments because I know it won't go nowhere. It don't make sense what they're doing. I know QVC probably will sell a couple, but I don't see them selling at the price they're thinking they're going to sell it at, especially when half the community already got the damn cabinet already. So it doesn't make any sense anymore. I think we do need new direction, but to me, I want to know what the direction is. And I think that is where the transparency comes in play. Someone needs to come out of their little hole, their little rabbit hole, and hold and allow let's put the Galaxy Partycade just completely tough is tougher. Tough its Legacy Edition. Hopefully the new Deluxe Galaxy can somehow get the Partycade listing. I agree. The listing is way better, but I don't see it happening. And that's the problem. I don't see it happen because they keep fumbling the ball all the time on a 1 yard line. They have it, and then they'll continue to screw it up. They continue to screw it up. I don't see the merit behind it. Like when they did the Double Dragon, everybody was so hyped about the Double Dragon. Everybody was hyped when we saw that down in Miami. And they could have did the Double Dragon 2 skin, put 1, 2, 3. They probably could have put Neon in there, Double Dragon Neon. That would have been a great cab to set off Wave 5. They didn't do that. The outcry was there. But the fact is, we got the iArcade with theirs, but they only put a Double Dragon 1 on it. I just feel like Arcade1up don't know what they're doing anymore. And like RGT 85, they don't have no direction. So where's the direction in their company? Because it seemed like after Wave 3, they just didn't know what to do anymore. They didn't know what to do. And that's the problem. That's the problem that I have with Arcade1up. Like, if you saw my community poster, I have a lot of Arcade1ups in my room. I have a ton of them. But at the same time, I don't want to go back and buy the same cab that I bought 4 years ago. I'm not doing that. When I buy it the first time and I sell it, that's it. Now, it might be a bigger form factor, and it's great for them to do that, but I don't feel the point of them rehashing Pac-Man every year. If that's the case, bring out one form factor that works. To me, if you really wanted Pac-Man to really sell, this is going back to Wave 3. Why not throw the XLs out there? Why not throw the Partycades out there? They have all that stuff out there, and they didn't have it available at the time. It just didn't make no sense. If you want to change the size up, change the controls, the monitors, and all that, that should have been right there. That should have been your biggest impact, because I know a lot of times everybody would have went and bought it. It would have been a big push behind it. But we're basically getting cabs that we got doing Wave 1 right now. I'm not doing it. It just don't make sense anymore. And right now, the way Arcade1up is looking as entirely, I don't see them surviving after 2024. I would be very surprised if that games list is come to fruition as a actual listing. But Aliens versus Predator, I don't see it. I don't see none of that stuff coming in play. I don't see it. Like, I'm gonna pull it up. Content. Post. All right, let's pull it up. I don't see Smash TV coming. I don't see the Carbon Collection coming. I don't see Track and Field coming. I don't see Star Wars coming. especially the XL form factor. I don't see that. At least it's possible to upscale the 17-inch cab PCB. Well, I mean, if that was the case, let's say they got a better PCB. Why couldn't the original management do that then? They were complaining that was a financial issue. That's the reason why they couldn't go further with the pinballs. That's why that company that basically was with Arcade1up went over to Ad Games. It's not perfect, but it's doable. I don't see it. I don't see it. I feel that a lot of the mistakes Arcade1up made, they did not understand. They did not understand what was going on. They did not understand. They didn't understand their community. They didn't understand the customer service that was required. They didn't understand what was really beneficial to them in the long run. I feel that at the end of the day, they lost a lot of people, a lot of diehards. Even Michael B sold off all his, and that didn't make any sense to me why he did that entirely. Like, why he did that entirely. You know, I didn't understand why he did that. You know, he's like, oh, I made space for my daughter, but you have extra rooms in the house. That didn't make any sense to me. You know, he didn't really do it. It just didn't make sense. So I don't really see Arcade1up going further than what they are. I think we are seeing the end. I think the ship has sailed. What they have done, it was great. But I don't see that Arcade1up is going to last very much longer until someone comes out with a statement saying, okay, we have released the president, we released the vice presidents, we're bringing a whole new staff in. This is our direction, and somebody needs to come on a live feed. They need to do an Arcade1up show and explain, and they need to be very clear and not be trying to use the vocabulary that is going to keep them from hiding behind the lie. They need to be truthful and they need to be honest about how they're coming about this at this moment. My thing is, and if it was me, if I was taking over, I would come out and say, okay, this is the direction. Any plans for projects that you're planning to do? I want to get a Ridge Racer and T2 and make them a multi-K. Well, my projects is going to be, I actually was taking I had a big blue that I got during the Red Cross thing back, like a couple years back. And I was going to make a Turbo Street Fighter out of it with the skin art of the Shinuki, the Shinuki one, not the Yoga Flame, but the blue one, make the artwork like it and get the PCB of that particular cab and put it in the big blue and have the artwork match it up in a big blue format. Then I want to take the Defender Partycade and put it in my Mortal Kombat 2 that I have. I have a Legacy, the first Legacy one, and I want to reskin it, put the marquee in there, change out the control panels, and that way it looks like the actual Defender cab because it was never online. So those are my two projects I'm going to do. Those are the only two. Other than that, I already have a multi-game. I already have an Ad Games. Mine is lit up with games already. I could play all those games that I'm talking about on those cabs on the Ad Games, but I just want the artwork to match it. That's it. As far as that, I don't see anything beyond the horizon that I'm trying to improve unless I'm going to change out buttons and sticks or change out marquees. Other than that, I think I'm going to sit still because I want to at least see what 2024, the summertime is going to look like. Are they going to do an Evo? Are they going to do an E3? Are they going to do a CES? We don't know. Like right now, Everybody's going to Cleveland Game Convention right now. Everybody's shilling off the new 4K products that Arcade's got. So I'm kind of waiting to see what happens. So that's it. But I don't see Arcade1up surviving. I don't. I think they had a great ride. I think they done well by the community. But based on the topic at hand, and they are basically selling equity in their company to kill debt. I don't see it. I just don't see it right now. I don't see them going any further than what they are right now. This is the direction of Arcade1up until someone says something different. And they haven't been transparent before. I don't really feel they're going to be transparent now. Hopefully, if my video gets looked at, and I highly doubt it, we will. I don't know if Arcade1up is going to survive. I would love them to. I haven't been hyped about any of their products lately. If Arcade1up do push MK2 XL next year, I'm grabbing two. One to do a reskin to the UMK3, and the other to convert to a Blitz or a Jam XL. I think you might want to wait for the. Well, why would you do an NBA Jam? They already got the Shaq edition. That doesn't make any sense. I think if you do a Blitz, I can see that. But NBA Jam is already out there. I would just get the Shaq edition and just reskin it. It's the same thing. Same marquee, same game lineup, same control panel. It's a 4-player. I would just do that. I can see the UMK3 because I actually got one. Mine will be here tomorrow. I'm going to take a picture. Am I going to do a setup? No. Based on the community told me to wait until my basement gets finished for me to actually put it all together. So I'm going to do a marathon and put them all together all in one day. I'm going to try to put them as many together as possible. I might bring extra people here to help me out to do it. Remember the control panel tilts. That's why. For which one? The NFL Blitz? Because in all the reviews I see for NFL Blitz and NBA Jam, they said none of the control panels tilt. Blitz does. Okay, I might have to open that one up. Okay. I might have to open that up. I never knew that. It didn't say no one has ever mentioned that. No one's ever mentioned that the panel tilted. That's interesting. Because no one mentioned that in the reviews. From Michael B, I see his review. I see Colin's review. I see 19K review. I seen Third Floor with Jason's review. There's I think Moat don't have one. Another does Tech Buzz. They didn't have one. I know there was a few that did, but no one's ever mentioned a tilted control panel. That's new to me. I'm not saying you lying, Console. I'm not saying you lying because I do have the cabinet. I just never put it together, but no. I have the cab, and partly has parted it after a week ago to convert the PCB to HDMI out. Okay, I'm not saying you're lying. I'm not saying you're lying. I just, no one ever mentioned that in their review. So that's interesting. I just find it interesting that no one mentioned that, and you're the only one that has. And it got me thinking. It really does. But at the end of the day, I'm going to just leave it like this. Do I feel like the ship has sailed? Yes. For Arcade1up? Yes. Unless they can revive the Titanic, and I don't see it. They hit the bird, and that's it. If no one is willing to buy their cabs, and they're not willing to sell it on their sites, and the community is not behind them, and the community goes somewhere else, where does that leave Arcade1up? That's where it comes down to. I enjoy the community. I want to be a part of it. This is the reason why I got back in the video game space, because of them. and I love the ride that I'm on, but I'm gonna have to like get off the train right now and just wait it out. I'm not getting off. I'm getting off, but I'm basically just getting on the platform. I'm gonna sit still for right now. I want to see what they do. I'm not getting off the train and going down on the platform and getting out the train station. Yeah, Jan Deluxe has a panel tilt too. So if I can make it look that way, like that. Well, why don't you go to a third party and just actually have them build the control panel the way you want it to, instead of buying a whole new cab? Like, I know 99 Lives Arcade will actually build the control panel the way you want it to be leveled. If you talk to Greg, that's his name. If you talk to Greg, hit me up and I'll give you his number. You could talk to Greg, and Greg can actually give you a control panel that can actually sit up flat across the whole entire cabinet. It might cost you a little bit more, but it's better than buying a whole new cab for 3 times more than what it's really worth. I would do that, but I know 99 Live Arcade will do it for you. I know he will, because he did one for my Rampage cabinet, and he did my boss controllers, my boss control panels for all my Mortal Kombats, all my Street Fighters, all my MVCs, and my Marvel superheroes, and my X-Men versus Street Fighter. I know he did all my boss, and they all came out pretty good. I mean, he did a really great job of doing it. I would actually go and talk to him. But if you want to hit me up for my number, hit me up on IG, and I'll give you his number and his contact, and go and holler at him. And you tell him what you want, and he'll probably make it for you. He'll just probably charge you like maybe like $190 to basically pull it off. But I know he can pull it off for you. He's really good at his artwork. It'll take him a couple weeks, but he can pull it off for you. I know he can. I definitely will second his skill set. He's definitely good about that. But as far as being here, I'm just gonna sit on the platform right now. I'm gonna wait for the train to come by a couple of times and see what happens. And hopefully Arcade1 could revise their seat in the Arcade1, the home arcade community, because right now I'm not really sure they can. And I'm not going to get rid of the Cavs. I love all their Cavs. I bought them because I wanted them. I wish we could have got Daytona. I wish we could have got House of the Day. I wish we got Tekken, Qbert, WrestleFest or WrestleMania. There was a lot of Cavs that I was looking forward to, or Hang On, or Afterburner. I was really looking forward to those Cavs. I was really looking forward to Arcade1up pulling those Cavs off. But right now, without John D being there, and then John Baccarat being removed from his position, I don't know. I don't know if these Cavs can actually happen. Michael B being the ambassador for our community, I don't know. It's a really weird time for us. It's really weird, and no one knows what's going to happen with this company. Only the people that work there. And until they come out and say what's going on with this company, I don't see us going any further than what we are. I think Arcade1up has definitely showed that this community can definitely be pushed. But if the license costs too much to produce cabinets for the masses that no one's willing to pay $700 or $600, and they can't keep it under a price point of $500, I don't see a lot of people definitely validating that. And inflation does hurt everybody with home prices going up. You know, mortgage prices, interest rates going up on homes, rent is going up all over the place. Eating, food, clothes, everything's going up. People are saving their money, and we're at the very beginning of the inflation. They say it's still stuff to come. I'm really nervous. Like, for me, I know I don't have no worries, because right now I'm at 21 years and I'm about to retire at the end of this year. I'm retiring, so I got a full retirement for the rest of my life. I'm good, but not everybody has the same situation. Some people are living check to check, and if they get fired, they don't have a retirement. Especially you got family. and my son is leaving to go to college next year. He's gone. And my GI Bill pays for him to go to school. So I don't have no worries for him. But as far as everybody else and what's going on, the Greek getaway, I watched your video, awesome video. I'm going to put your link inside my video so that way people could go and check you out. That was great commentary, great detail. I believe Arcade1up is dead. I really do believe that. And it's sad to say that, but I think it is. And I just think we have to look at everything around it. I don't really think Arcade1up can survive any longer than what it has if the community's not going to back their products and pay the price they're going to pay for their products. And this is where we're at. It's sad and it's unfortunate, but this games list that is coming out next year, I don't see it. I did, and I'm going to subscribe to your channel. Matter of fact, let me do that right now while I'm on the phone so you can see that I actually subscribed to your channel because I thought it was really good. Humble sir. Let's see. Let's go. Library, here we go. Oh, sure, you should have came out. Oh.
Etsy has stunning home finds.
All right, you should see me. The community doesn't pay bills. I don't cover a lot of arcade cabinet news, but thank you. No, it's no problem. I think you actually hit a lot of things on the head with your research. I think it was really great that you did a lot of insight on John Baccarat, and I did take something from your video that they are going to pay use equity in their company to pay off their debts until they're able to change it from debt back to equity. So I think it was a lot that I learned from your video, and I learned some business terms that I really didn't know anything about. So I thought your video was highly had a lot of information. It was very detailed, very articulate, sounded out. I think you put everything together correctly, and I thank you for your video because everybody's been. You've been getting a little buzz off that video, and we all see it because Unqualified Critics. I watched the pieces of your video in his, so that made me go and watch yours. So I think you need to think Unqualified Critics when you see his video game or go and watch his video. I think you definitely need to give him a shout out because he definitely showed you a lot of love with that video because I didn't even know your video was out. So I got a minute left. I just wanted to get on this podcast and just give my 2 bits. I want to thank Constorm for hopping on Greek Geek Getaway. Appreciate you. I'm a new fan of yours, and hopefully I can see future content from you. Anyone that sees this content, I hope you like the content. I hope I gave some details on what I feel personally. If you like the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comment at the bottom, and you need to go over there and check his out. And hopefully I'll see you down the road somewhere. Peace, everybody. Have a great week.